All right, hello. To whom it may concern, my wife tells me that you need to change some strings on the guitars that you sent back with her. I don't know your name, so we're just gonna go with Dude. All right, Dude. So I've I've got your Ibanez here, which is a really good guitar. It's for especially for a beginner. It's just Ibanez's are really well built. It's almost like getting an expensive Fender when you get a low priced Ibanez. It's really that good. So a couple of things you're going to need to be able to change your strings. You're going to need some sort of string winder. This isn't totally necessary. You could sit here and turn the strings yourself by going like this. It just goes a lot slower. So it's nice to be able to go like this. Right? You can turn it really fast. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to loosen the strings before you remove them or cut them. And the way you know you're loosening it is you'll hear the note go down. So if you hear the note going, see, to make sure you're turning the knob in the right direction, if you hear the note going down, see, boo, that means you're loosening it, which is what you want to do. You don't want to hear the note go up, because what will happen is the string will eventually get to a tension that it's not made for, and it'll snap. And when I was first learning how to play guitar and change strings and stuff, I actually cut my finger a couple times because I was turning it in the wrong direction, or when I was putting the string on, I kept winding it way above how the tension that it's supposed to have. So we want to loosen all the strings. So I'll start by doing that. I'm just going to get it loose enough to where I can actually get it out from the little holes that are on each tuning machine. I'm just going to drop that for now and go to the next one. And you can just, once it gets to that level, you can actually keep turning it until it's right there, and then you can just pull straight down. And we'll go to the next one. And pull that one out. Go to the next one. This one I think is wound around a couple times, so we'll just keep turning. And yeah, oh, someone actually made a knot. We won't be making knots when we go to restring this. Okay. Jeez. Oh man. Okay. So oops. That was the sound of your guitar hitting my chair. Sorry about that. Okay, so that string's out. Now what you have is all your strings just kind of hanging loose like this. And now you need some sort of wire cutter, or a regular pair of needle nose pliers will do. The reason why is because you have to pull the strings through these little holes here, and all these little bent parts of the string from the top aren't going to pull through very easily. So we want to cut the string somewhere in the middle where they're nice and straight. And so if you have a pair of wire cutters, cool. If you don't, ask your parents for some needle nose pliers. Maybe they want to even do this with you. I have another string winder device that actually comes with a little pair of scissors, and it's just like, it looks just like that. And so you can actually do them all at once. So I've cut them. While it's in your hand, I'd like to wrap them up so they don't go everywhere and end up on your floor and poking holes in your feet. Now you can take the strings and one at a time push them through the back. And sometimes they... Where is it? Oh boy, it's going to be one of those. Someone put this plate on wrong. Okay, well there's going to be a new little wrinkle for you. We need to remove this back plate to get that one string out. So you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. You can see the ones that have the 4 squares. So I'm going to pause the video right now and go find one. Okay, apparently I'm going to have to do some video editing. But anyway, here's the Phillips head screwdriver. It's the kind that look like that. And then you just obviously turn to the left. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So you turn to the left, counterclockwise, pull out all the screws. I'm going to try to do this really quickly so I don't have to pause the video and edit together 5 videos. So this will be super boring to watch, so congratulations and you're welcome. So I'm going to pull out all 6 screws. Make sure you put them somewhere, you know, make sure you keep track of where they land. If they fall on the floor or something like that, it's really easy to lose these screws, and it's not like they're irreplaceable, but sometimes it can be difficult to find one that's exactly the right size and thread. You know, they all have to be thread exactly like they are in the hole. So now the back plate's off. Now I can finally take that string and push it through. And you can do that with all of them. So all the strings are coming through. There's just 4. Gonna grab all 4, pull straight out. Again, this is just me, but I like to wrap them up real quick. Just because otherwise, I've stepped on these before, it's not fun. Okay. What I like to do at this point is get a little microfiber towel. I'm gonna get it a little wet. And take the opportunity, we're gonna take the opportunity to clean up the guitar a little bit. I'm gonna try to do this really fast, so I don't know how thorough I'm gonna be, but it'll make for a really boring video. So, but I'm getting in here between the pickups, because when you have strings on, you can't really clean there. Moving around the switches, kind of moving around the volume and tone pot as well, tone knobs. And then getting it nice and sparkly clean. That's, you know, it's one of those things that it'll just, first of all, it looks better, but also keeping a lot of excess dust away from the pickups and the tone knobs and everything, and the tuning machines getting in between here will just make them last longer, and they'll be prettier and cooler, and you'll look better in the heavy metal band that you're going to start in 2 years. Okay, I also take the dry part of the towel, and since it's microfiber, it'll get some of the grime off the back of the neck too, just from hand sweat and whatever. You probably don't sweat very much when you play yet, but when you start rocking like I do, oh, there will be sweat. But anyway, so here we go. I've got the whole pack of strings. I don't have any scissors, so we're gonna do something that's really not sanitary. We're gonna pull them off, and they will mark these ones aren't quite the same as the brand that I usually use. The brand that I usually use is actually color coded, but when you pull them out, you're gonna see 6 strings, and they're gonna say the gauges on the front. So you're gonna have 9 and then 11 and then blah, blah, blah. That means how thick the string is. So obviously you wanna make sure you put these on in the right order. Made that mistake before. There is a little, if you look at the back of the pouch, there's a little chart that you just look for the gauges that you have on this little chart, and it'll tell you whether it's the first E, the second B, the first string, second string, third string, and so on. If you lose track. Otherwise, just keep them in order and put them on in order. And we're gonna open up the first string. You take it by the ball end and kind of shake it out, and then it unwinds. And we're gonna put it through the first hole. Okay, so now you can see I'm holding the guitar just like I would. If you flip it over, the first string is gonna go in the lowest hole, because you want it to be this string. That's the tiny little string. And you want to do that when you want to make hammer-ons, because then you go, and it's cool. So anyway, so we're going to put it through the hole. I had too much coffee this morning, so my hands are like shaking. I'm just going to put all the strings through first. So I'm going to set that down, open the next string. And I guess I'll do some video editing because I'm going to put all these strings through in that same order. I'll do the second one and then I'm going to pause the video and come back when I have them all through so you don't have to watch me do this. So I'm putting it through that second hole and pulling it all the way through. Okay, now I'm going to pause the video and come back when they're all through. Okay, so we have them all through. You can see all 6 strings are coming through. I'm going to take the thickest one, which is the one, if you're holding it like you would, it's the one closest to me. And I'm going to make sure it's pulled through nice and tight. And I'm going to bring it up to here. You have kind of the old school kind of tuning pegs. Wait, I need like a table or something. You have the old school kind of tuning pegs, so you have to almost cut them before you actually put them through the hole and start twisting. Or what you can do is you can wrap it. You want to wrap the low string around at least once. When you get to the higher strings, you want to make sure it wraps around at least twice. And this is going to be really hard to show. But I'm going to take the string. I'm going to have to wrap it. You can kind of pull it tight, wrap it around at least once, kind of like 1.5, and then while holding it tight, I'm going to take this string and thread it through the hole. And you want to keep this part tight. This is the trick. And then kind of pull it through nice and tight. And then we'll get it up to relative pitch. If you have another guitar around, it's handy to know what that low string should sound like. I have one, and it's do. So we want to get it to about that pitch. So I take my handy dandy string winder. And kind of keep holding onto this tight so it doesn't slip back through, and get that note up to do. Do. Yep. Right about there. Okay. And then repeat that for 6 more times or 5 more times, unless you have a 7 string, in which case you're awesome. But this is a 6 string. So we're going to repeat that. I'm going to come back once all of them are through, and I'll actually come back before we do the highest string, because you got to wrap that one around twice. So okay, we're back to wrap that last one. We've got all the other ones on. It's tricky because you really have to, you've got to get around it twice without poking your fingers with the other strings. So you want to get around it twice, and you always want to wrap from the bottom up. And then after that second wrap, you got to thread what's left through the little hole. So you see how I'm holding it in place with one hand, and my eyes are getting bad in my old age, so can't even see that. There we go. So it's through. Grab your little string winder. Make sure you kind of know basically what note you want to go for, but don't have to worry about it until it starts to tighten up a little bit. And the way I know that this string is pretty close already, the second string, and I know if I hit this note, dun, dun, that's the note this should be. Right about there. If you have another guitar around, sometimes that comes in handy. And then you take the little clippity clip and cut this off nice and close to the tuning peg so it doesn't poke you when you're moving around there. Okay, so that's how to string your guitar. The next step is going to be getting it in tune, and because new strings need to be stretched out. So here's how I do it. Put your finger on the first fret of the lowest string, and listen to this first of all. Hold on, let me get the right note. So you hear how that's about the right note. Now watch this. I'm going to stretch it. And the way I do that is I get my finger underneath and I grab on. And then listen how much lower it was at. Dun. I'm gonna get it back into tune. Grab on that first fret. The reason why I'm grabbing on the first fret is so you don't put any stress on the nut. That's what this thing is called, the nut. And so I put my fingers, put my thumb here, and I just stretch it. I just stretch the string in various places, up and down. And then do the same thing. This is what note this should be. The second or the fifth string. And do the same thing. Stretch, 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 stretch. Stretch, 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 stretch. The next note is the 5th fret. And then we're going to stretch it. And you'll hear the note go down from doom. Stretch it again. And this note, the 5th fret, that 3rd string should be the same as the 4th string 5th fret. So we start there. Now we're going to hold it down in that same position, do the same thing. Here it went down. Do it one more time. Then the 2nd string should be the same as the 4th fret on the 3rd string. Then we stretch it. Here it went down. One more time. These skinny little strings up towards the top are especially easy to stretch out. So now the 1st string should be the same as the 5th fret on the 2nd string. Right about there. Now we're doing the same thing. Stretch, 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 stretch. And let me do this from the side so you can see I'm getting under it and I'm kind of bending it. You hear how it went down, out to right there. And from there, you can grab a tuner and get it in tune. And I will come back in a second to demonstrate your guitar for you through your very own amp in just a sec. Okay, we have your guitar all strung up, and I'm playing through your mighty Mustang here. And I'll show you how the guitar is sounding now. With new strings on it, it's going to be a little brighter. So on the bridge pickup, you got, hold on, technical difficulty. Then the neck pickup. That's what the neck pickup's good for, whereas the bridge pickup's good for, full out rock. Little Van Halen. Anyway, awesome guitar, dude. Hopefully I don't just keep it, because I know you probably want it back. But I'm actually really liking it. I've never had kind of a shredder guitar, and that's what this guitar was really made for really fast. Most of my guitars have been more like kind of classic vintagey stuff, like your other guitar that you sent here, the Strat. Most of my guitars are like that, so this one's fun. It just makes you want to play fast. So anyway, hopefully you get to play that fast someday. I'm sure you'll be better than me because you're starting younger. So awesome. Congrats, Bren. I also cleaned the heck out of your amp. But you're getting both these back in better condition than you sent them. So that's great. All right, take care, man.